Edition of AM Minnesota. We're going to visit with Nort Johnson. He's with Main Street Faribault. He's the marketing director for the city of Faribault. He's a Faribault native. What else can I tell you about Nort?
Lucky guy on Father's Day. I've got. I'm proud and blessed. I've got 4 kids and 9 grandkids.
Oh my word!
And so I heard from a bunch of them. That was pretty nice. So.
Did you get a tie or anything?
No, sir. None of that, but lots of conversation and hellos, so it was a good day.
Did you go on the Heritage Days pub crawl?
I did not. We were actually working the car cruise that night.
Oh, okay.
On Friday night.
Oh, that's right.
We crossed paths, so it was nice to see. They had a good turnout for that. And the car cruise, even with the weather scare, the guys with the fancy paint jobs, if they see the possibility of hail, they just don't come out. But we did end up condensing the space that we usually take up, but we had both sides of a block and partway down the middle filled up again, and it was a lot of fun. So it was a good night, good Heritage Days.
It was. Parade was fun to call on Saturday, and we had a little rain during it, but not a lot of rain.
Not a lot. Good stuff.
And they did a good job on the parade. I had some people say, well, it wasn't very long this year. I said, I thought it was about perfect.
Okay. I heard good compliments. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So you went before the joint committee of the council last night and talked about wayfinding signs.
Wayfinding signage. In other words, those signs that help people find their way around.
Yeah, I've never heard it termed that way before. I put location signs on our website. But
Okay, yeah. So it's actually, that was determined many years ago in Faribault as a gap, something that we could improve on. And then last year, in our study that we did jointly with the University of Minnesota, that was the number one opportunity that we had, that low-hanging fruit, that obvious thing that we could do.
Now, is this a survey of Faribault residents or people who came to Faribault?
These were actually, we had 10 tourism and visitor experts that descended upon Faribault over a couple of days and did an assessment.
Okay.
As part of that program. We had people from out of the country that are tourism experts that were in assessing some things. And a couple of the big things, they did identify downtown Faribault as our largest tourism or visitor opportunity to continue the development of that. They all considered it to be so attractive and definitely a number one opportunity for us. And then as far as an opportunity, the number one project that we could take on as the tourism committee and some partners and the University of Minnesota worked out together through a pretty extended exercise. What floated to the top was wayfinding signs. In other words, helping people find Riverbend Nature Center and the Information Center and the Paradise Center for the Arts and the retail and shopping downtown. So now we're moving forward with that. And that's what it's about, right? If you commission a study and you talk to consultants, they bring you information that's good and well thought out. And then the trick is executing that. And we're fortunate to have a good downtown, our Main Street group went to work on this, specifically our design committee.
So even in today's world of navigation systems where you can plug an address in and a car takes you right there, this is viewed as something that's needed.
Yes, absolutely. It's both. Okay, Forrest Gump, it's a little bit of both, I think. So the signage project, and we've gone about the work sort of center of Faribault out, because we do have quite a condensation of attractions in the downtown with the library, community center, senior center, Paradise, Riverbend Nature Center. Shattuck St. Mary's is just off of downtown.
Cathedral of Merciful Savior.
The Cathedral, Central Parks. We've all these things concentrated here. We're not ignoring Faribault by any stretch. I want to make sure that that's known. We actually have the first set of signs, which is what we discussed last night, 15 in the core district. And we have the next 14 actually. Go ahead.
I'm going to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk more about the next 14. How's that for perfect?
Main Street, a little bit of tourism, a little bit of chamber, and They all mix together.
Yeah, and you before the market update, you were telling us about the locator sign, or excuse me, the wayfinding
signage, right? The project, and I did want to describe importantly while we're starting in the core. It's a Main Street group doing the work. We're starting with the downtown district. We have already the second ring of wayfinding signage already planned out and mapped out.
Now, people may be wondering about cost, but the city can make these signs, right?
The city can make them and or commission them, and we're helping them find the most efficient way. We've got a great sign-making company in town with brushwork, and there's also, when you get to the volume, there are some economies, so you have to make the right decisions, with taxpayer money for paying for the signs.
Right.
But you also want to make sure that you keep your local businesses strong. So it's finding the right balance there. So there will definitely be quotes coming in from different sources.
And you're going to be using the same theme that our signs have now.
Yes, and that was important to us as the committee. And I have to give a big shout out to this Main Street Design Committee again. And the crew on there, Sue Garwood and Peggy Kylan and Glenn Holman and Bill McDonald and Jana Viscomi, our council person, comes to those meetings actually most of the time. And I'm really sorry if I leave anybody out. Oh, and Anne Millier from Brushwork is on that. And again, I apologize if I left anybody out. But we've gathered to do the work. Oh, Kim Clausen from the city of Faribault comes there. Travis Block from the city joins us. And so this project, again, it was really well thought out by that committee. And when we started from scratch, and we got maps the size of downtown, the size of a table, 3 foot by 5 foot, and we said, all right, where's the parking?
Where are you going to put the signs?
The signs, we've in 14 different locations, and most of them, we don't have to do new poles. There's existing poles, whether that be light poles or other semaphore poles that we can use. But the work was gone about, like I said, really well thought out. Where are people wanting to go? What are they looking for? Those became priorities. Parking is definitely a priority, making sure that people can find that. We've got just, within a short distance of where we're sitting right now, there are probably 160 or 170 parking spots downtown Faribault. So it's there. Sometimes finding it, especially for visitors, is a little bit tricky. So that's another big piece of the parking committee's work, is ensuring that we have appropriate signage pointing people to where the parking is. So those were the considerations, and then it was what are the main thoroughfares and entry points into the downtown district. So we mapped them, first putting the things we wanted people to find on the map, and then just simply following the route every couple of blocks. Okay, where would people turn off to get to the community center, or to the Paradise Center, which is also an information center downtown now, or to Shattuck St. Mary's, or to Riverbend Nature Center. And so we've done that work for the downtown district, and then again the next ring out. So we have the next phase, which is another 14 signs, would include wayfinding to the Cathedral, Central Park, the Woolen Mills, the fairgrounds. We've got some thoughts of at least getting people out of the district out to the soccer complex,
the school,
etc. Yeah, so it's very handy. You don't want to get too outlandish, and sometimes when we were looking at our signs, we thought they're getting a little bit, big and inclusive, and darn the luck. I don't think we can apologize for having a lot of things to point people to. So we want to do the very best work we can on those signs. And the first round here, I think, was very well done by that committee, and the city council agreed last night. So that was a positive interaction. We like that.
So these will be on 4th Street.
They'll be.
It's kind of a gateway into town.
They
right?
are the main thoroughfares we looked at were Highway 60, 4th Street, and then also coming from the east, which would be Viaduct.
So nothing on 21?
So they are not yet. That would be kind of the next outer ring. So they're on Ravine, they're on Willow, they're on Central, they're on 4th, they're on. We have the closer signs on Central Avenue at 7th Street. get people turned down central toward the attractions we have from there as well. So again, a good project and really good work by this crew. I mean, we drove those routes and we double-checked where the right poles are to make sure we did the very best job possible on it. So good work. Peggy Kylan was also involved with that. I think she made every meeting we had, too. So,
have you heard dedication of the new car, tilt-a-whirl car?
They are planning that for... You'll have to look for the message. Last night they indicated the date isn't exactly set yet.
Okay.
But probably the week after next. I'll try to let you know right away when I find out when it is, Gordy.
Sure. Well, they promised me they'd let me know, too. But
so did you get... Well, obviously you got to look at that in the parade. What'd you think of it?
Awesome.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. And again, some good volunteers doing the work on that.
And that's going by the State Bank of Faribault.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So good stuff going on with those items, Gordy.
So how is the Downtown Business Challenge going?
You know, we've entered Phase 2, and we have, I can't share from a confidentiality perspective
I understand
who
that.
or what the plan is, but I'll share that there are 6 businesses that passed the first round of judging.
And how many total did you have?
There were more than 6. So there were some that didn't advance. The businesses are all they're all very interesting and good ideas. So Phase 2 now, we've engaged SCORE, which is a business mentoring program, and then also the SBDC with our entries and with our contestants, and they're doing the hard work of researching their business plans even further. And they have another 4 or 4.5 weeks to put together their full-fledged business plan, and no more than 30 pages. And then that group will be judged off of their business plans again on another set of criteria that the judges have. We have 8 judges working on the project as well. No city staff, no chamber staff, no elected officials. So it's basically bank and business participation. Got a building owner from downtown, actually, 2 of them. So good stuff. Good stuff.
So what's the what's the timeline here?
The timeline is this round of judging actually comes back in on or about the 15th of July is when their business plans are due, and then so 6 30-page business plans for the 8 judges to review. It's going to take a couple of weeks. We've got a good system set up where we'll be able to keep confidentiality a priority and still allow the judges to spend an adequate amount of time assessing each plan and scoring it. So I'm guessing that's going to be, we've allowed ourselves 3 weeks on that. After that phase, if we have a clear winner out of 6, we'll call it. We'll call it there. If not, we'll advance to, I don't think, probably more than 3 finalists. But I don't make the final decisions. That's the judging panel. But I'm guessing not more than 3 finalists will advance to they'll do an oral presentation to the judging panel, and the award will go out from there. So good stuff. We're excited. Good ideas and great opportunity to fill in some of those gaps in our downtown.
Could you see more than one or not?
Yeah, I think of the 6, all 6 have potential to do something downtown. I know another town that did a challenge similar to ours had 1 winner, and 4 more actually opened their doors in the district. So as we move toward the end of this and the business plans are coming closer to fruition and our contestants begin to engage with property owners and other potential partners, financiers, etc., even if they don't win the grand prize, there's assistance to be had and help to be had to get their dreams up and going. So we're hopeful that we may inspire more than 1 new business in the district. But good stuff. And again, I can't say enough about the volunteers coming to the table. We're blessed at the Chamber and the Main Street program to be able to help organize this work. But truly, the folks coming to the table and helping out are the ones that make it happen. So, pretty happy with that.
Nort Johnson is with us from downtown, the Main Street program here in downtown Faribault. Let's see. How many of these are there in the country?
Pardon me?
Main Street programs.
Oh, boy. You know,
there's quite a few, right?
There's a lot.
Even here in Minnesota,
In Minnesota, there's, I think, 9 right now. And there are more looking to onboard. I get calls frequently from not just in Minnesota, but from other communities that are considering it. And it really, the program lays out a good framework under which you can do some work of promoting and designing and working on economic development in the district. And that's important, but it also provides the flexibility to make it your own, to make it your Faribault Main Street program. We're part of the state and the national programs, but ours is unique from all of the others in a few aspects. Good aspects, I think.
So with this committee, the survey team that came here, independent survey team, and they said the downtown district is your number one asset. Is that what
Correct.
I heard?
Yes.
Your number one asset.
Yep.
I'm going to guess that you probably would not want to see the Alexander Faribault House move to the fairgrounds, which was talked about, years ago.
I understand that it has been. That the movement of that didn't come up. It did come up as it's a good attraction. One of Faribault's really important aspects for visitor attractions has to do with our history. And so you've got this outstanding downtown district with, I know I've mentioned this before, but in case there are new listeners, Faribault has the largest historic district in the state, except for St. Paul.
Right.
So as far as a non-metro historic district, we own it here, and that's fantastic. Well, the Faribault House is right there within that. So there's some parking challenges there, but they seem to be overcome pretty easily. Sue Garwood does a great job. They manage that property out of the Rice County Historic Society, and they get people in and out of there seemingly without big issues. Anyway.
Well, I know they wouldn't, from my discussions with her, would rather keep it where it's at.
Sure.
But there, was talk over the years of
it would make
moving it.
There certainly would be some advantages in helping perhaps more people
see it
at the fairgrounds. Right. With some of the other cool buildings they have there.
And like I told Sue, they moved the river.
So
come on,
the river. We could move the house maybe. But I wouldn't advocate for moving the house. I would need quite a bit of information personally to show that would make good sense and allow. There's something to be said for allowing access. I mean, if you've got a real treasure that's important for you to share.
I guess it's significant that it's in its original location, and it's downtown, which is your number one asset according to these people. So I can see why you'd want to keep it there.
Yeah, that's where I currently land, and I think most people do. But certainly there's a good argument to be made the other direction. But there's, and all of these downtown buildings have stories. You look at the historic pictures. The one
you're sitting in does.
Sure.
Used to make the Schimmel pianos here.
Schimmel pianos. They've got a couple of those down at the museum.
Yep.
We had somebody talking. I don't know what town I was even in the last couple of weeks. I think I was up on Pelican Lake, and somebody brought that up. Well, isn't that where they made these pianos? And I said, yeah, actually they did. So a little notoriety here as well. All up and down the downtown. You look at the old pictures and understand the Kay's Floral Building. It was originally a saloon. Koffenberg. There was a Koffenberg that owned that. It was Koffenberg Saloon.
I believe it. It looks like it could have been a saloon.
And if you look at the old historic pictures, I think there's a round Schlitz sign hanging outside in a couple of the old pictures. That's an 1890, give or take, I think, 1892. I know.
It's pretty cool to look at the old pictures of, I don't know if you've seen the one where the circus or something must come through town. All the elephants are coming through Central Avenue.
That's something.
It's an awesome picture.
Yeah, you talk about the history of Faribault. You know, I'm going to segue off of that history thing just a little bit and talk just briefly about tourism and what we're up to next Monday. It's planning time for our 2018 campaigns. The 2017 campaign is it's stretching its legs out pretty good right now. This is the time where a lot of our online advertising is being conducted and the keyword purchases along the interstate. And this is from Des Moines. We've got advertisements and keyword purchases, and we're releasing new content every week on our website that contains keywords that people are searching for. And we're promoting that specifically the I-35 corridor, Des Moines to Lakeville. So when people are on the move, we want them to know that they can pull into Faribault for food and lodging and history and trails and all kinds of things. So next Monday, we start the work of how do we want our campaign to look for next year. And we'll begin that by reviewing our 2017 work, how it's going. We'll have the statistics and analytics and data on hand for that, and then we're going to have it's about an hour's worth of time where we'll have an opportunity to visit with other stakeholders. So we're getting input from attractions, hotels, restaurants, and those other folks that want to come to the table and share what they're up to. And then the commission and the council, actually as guests, will go into a formal meeting where we'll be making some decisions about what we want to research for a 2018 visitor campaign for Faribault. So, good stuff.
Speaking of history,
okay,
our airport is being renamed this Saturday.
Yes, it is.
And Liz Wall-Strophus Field. It's so awesome.
I think that is just so cool. I mean, what a gem. And I think almost everybody in Faribault knows about her. And, she was a guest speaker at so many different functions. And what a cool and amazing life. She had a guest appearance in... actually, Kim Clausen conveyed her during a performance at the Paradise last winter. There's a big section about her and her time in the holiday production last year. That was really fun. So, yeah, definitely a Faribault legend and well-deserving of being a legend beyond Faribault's borders. So, that's just so appropriate and so fun.
He is awesome. Now, I've heard that Senator Amy Klobuchar may be there, which would make perfect sense. She worked with Liz, at the time of her passing,
right,
on legislation that would allow wasps to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Right. So I hope that Amy is here. She does a pretty good job for Minnesota, I believe.
And I think it would be appropriate for her to be on hand. Hopefully, like you say, she can make it this Saturday, but we're all invited, I know, to the open house, 1 until 4. Program begins at 2. I just happened to be in Stanton for Father's Day fly-in, drive-in, walk-in breakfast out at Stanton Airfield.
Okay.
Who ends up in line next to me but Liz's son?
Oh.
And we're sitting down and we're chatting and we're eating, and then the guy who's restoring the BT-13 that's coming to Faribault sits down next to us, shows me a picture of it. They were doing their test flight on Monday of this week.
Oh.
They hadn't even test flown it yet.
Wow.
It's coming to Faribault this Saturday, so hopefully it flies.
That seems like I'm sure they know what they're doing. Seems like a tight time frame.
Yeah, that's what I said, too.
So, well, that's just cool. Another cool thing in Faribault.
And this restored BT-13 is going to eventually head to a museum in Texas. They're putting a WASP museum in Texas.
Awesome.
On an air base where they did training or something.
Okay. Great place for it.
I think Sweetwater, Texas. Does that sound right?
It does sound right. It does sound right. I know there's a Sweetwater, Texas. So,
but as I heard that, I thought, geez, maybe we should have put a WASP museum here.
I know that they're putting some things out at the airport, and maybe I should know this, and I don't. I wonder if they're going to do any extension of that honorarium at the Rice County Historic Society.
Oh, I would guess they are.
I'm guessing, and that'll be that's just a cool little property down there. They got the addition on it now, and
you could argue that Liz Strophus is one of the most famous residents ever in Faribault. Now, Bruce Smith obviously would be up there,
but they're both very
But she's received 2 congressional medals of honor.
That's amazing.
Not 1, 2.
2.
I have none.
I have none. I don't think I could ever even smell one. Those folks that have really stuck it out there for us. I mean, wow.
But I just was jumping on your history theme there.
Right.
Coming up this weekend, which shows you just how rich in history we are here in Faribault.
So, the reason I segued into the tourism priorities for next year is I think that we're at a point right now with what we've done over the last couple of years that we're ready to further identify and develop a Faribault brand. We have some notions about it. We allude to it, and history is such a big part of Faribault, including our Faribault products, which are still being made today. You think about the Faribault Woolen Mill, and we're still doing cheese, and now beer is back in Faribault, and now the modern products. I mean, the glass that we make in Faribault, famous all around the country and the world. There's just so many things, and that's not just part of our history, it's part of who we are, which becomes a brand. So it could be part of what we do for 2018.
Home of blue cheese, blankets,
beer, beans.
And beans.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Right?
You bet.
The 4 Bs.
The 4 Bs. The 4 Bs and so much more.
So that could be your theme.
I
can see that on a sign outside Faribault.
The 4 Bs.
Blue cheese, beans, beer, blankets. Anyway, that concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota, KDHLA in Faribault, Minnesota.